Thank
Love
you. Everybody, this is Nico Bellic. Stay tuned and stay affected.
Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, me and my beautiful assistant with her beautiful assistants staring at me non-stop. And I have an announcement today. So keep a close eye on my channel somewhere and something else besides her will pop up and I think you might enjoy it. Something else I'm enjoying at the moment is the demise of DEI, DIE as far as I'm concerned, because the Wall Street Journal, WSJ or SJW, I'm sure that joke's been going around for years now, published an email last week from Larry the Fink, the man who headlines BlackRock Vanguard, who has announced that they're dropping DEI and forced diversity, forced exclusion or equality and forced whatever into your entertainment. Now, does this mean that everything's going to be great again? Is the sun going to rise more often every day? Are the birds going to be chirping and tweeting in the trees? Maybe for now, but I do think this is short-lived. So basically, you need to treasure this while it lasts.
What a beautiful pair of knockers.
Tired of the MCU and pop culture disasters?
Jack Kane, a cop who does things his own way.
Then watch Jason Dumbass King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. Go ahead, make his day.
Baby, when the lights go down. Anyway, folks, let's get on with the news today because I find this rather fascinating. So BlackRock ditches diversity targets, drops the hiring mandates, and this is from fssustainability.com. There's a mouthful, if ever I read that part out loud. But before I go back into their article, because thank God they broke this down, if you go to the WSJ, you've got to pay for this shit just to read it. So why would I want to do that? Again, BlackRock's woke in parenthesis era is over. Like they're sad about it, hence why I've got the dark pages set on my GX Opera, because it's kind of reinforcing the fact they're full of crap basically. Asset manager has exited their urinals, climate groups and eliminated diversity targets as it tries to end ESG controversy. I like the fact that they're saying it's trying to end it because you've already set the wheels in motion. You've already got your think tanks walking out there and forcing every company out there, every blue chip company, whatever, to adhere to these rules. Because if you don't, bro, you ain't getting any more shares from us. You're going to be blacklisted on the list of companies who don't adhere to BlackRock and Vanguard hiring practices. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, folks, and it's absolutely abhorrent. Now, when they're trying to end ESG, I think you need a Bill of Rights, okay, like a statute, an amendment, but you can't do that now in the USA under the current government to make it a monumental shift in the right direction. I mean, you would need the Attorney General and other senior figures in American government to approve such a plan if that were to go ahead. This is a temporary null at the moment from DJ Trump and his band of merry men, because I see Mr. Trump as a Robin Hood-esque type of figure at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see what actually happens in that regard. However, it kind of gets a bit worse because you're probably wondering, Kung Fu, how does this affect entertainment? Well, Hollywood is on a bit of a downward spiral. If you watch the Oscars on Sunday, Zoe Saldana. Apparently, Saldana is not how you pronounce her surname. It's something else, like Consuelo, but I'm just going to call her Saldana because that's how we've always said it, right? So just because she won an Oscar for diversity and inclusion and whatever, and she's the first Dominican woman to win it, who cares? Who absolutely cares? Good for you, Zoe. You can take that Oscar home. You can shove it up your ass. Nobody absolutely cares.
Mommy! My mom is here.
But one thing I do care about is video games. Microsoft especially. So as a quick reminder, folks, BlackRock actually have 540,020,228 shares. That's 7.3% in Microsoft. The same Microsoft headlined by Phyllis Spencer and Sarah Bond.
My name is Sarah Bond. My pronouns are she, her.
Who have banned the exaggerated women in video games. So if you're working on a new video game, but you've got to put an attractive woman in there, you can make her semi-attractive, but for God's sake, don't give her exaggerated boobs like Stellar Blade. Don't do that at all, or Vindictus Defying Fate. So I'm wondering, with the email that dropped last week from Larry Fink telling people you've got to remove ESG and DEI, do you think Phil Spencer, do you think Sarah Bond might listen to him? I don't think so. I think it's going to take some time to eradicate it. And any game that they're working on at the moment, I'm talking to you, Fable 4, with that god-awful female character with no boobs whatsoever and zero personality.
Banker.
Do you think maybe Playground Games, the people who should be working on a Forza Horizon title, instead of trying their hands at an RPG called Fable 4, do you think they might start scrambling and redesigning assets? Time will only tell. By the way, I have to wonder what Donald Trump was doing to Larry Fink in their recent meeting. Reminded me of this infamous photo where Vinnie Jones, while he was a footballer, giving Paul Gascoigne a bit of a "Hello, madam, how are you?" greeting that day in 1988. And the same could apply to Sony, especially you, Naughty Dog, you, Neil Druckmann, and that god-awful Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet game. I wonder if that will still come out in its final version with the bald-headed coot with one boob who likes to wear a red mid-riff leather jacket. Time will only tell, because again, I've got to be skeptical about this. There's obviously a timeline to remove all DSG, or probably DEI and ESG. I mean, you might have started renaming it as different acronyms now, right? Because you never know. Don't forget, we got the bridge groups out there, and they're obviously pushing DEI in other ways possible. So it should apply to them as well, but we'll have to wait and see, shan't we, folks? But anyway, the name is Fink. Larry Fink, the same man who brazenly sat in a chair telling the host, the befuddled host in front of him, about forcing behaviors into the interview criteria. So if you had a black dude walking through the door and a white guy all smartly dressed in their suited and booted attire, and the white guy, because remember folks, white people in the UK are a demonized species and must be protected at all times, hence why I've got my lovely white princess here to make babies with later on. I know it defeats the role because they'll be coming out as hot chocolate babies with a hint of white chocolate thrown in for good measure. But that's beside the point. So back to my scenario. You got these two candidates in the interview, sat down. The white guy is more qualified than the black guy by maybe 3 points. But who do you think under DEI and ESG as forced behavior by Larry Fink, who do you think will end up getting the role? Of course, it's going to be the black dude.
Correctamundo.
Because I'm pretty sure as soon as he walked into that interview room that day, they've already got his criteria checked off on their shitty piece of A4 paper. But hopefully going forward, that won't be the case anymore. It's all judged on meritocracy. In other words, if you've got enough merits on your badge to qualify you for that particular role, then by golly, sir or madam, it's absolutely yours. I've got to give you some more bad news because Take-Two Interactive Software Incorporated, the same moronic buffoons who actually run Rockstar Games, right, all in charge of everything that goes on with that particular franchise, How do you think GTA 6 will fare? I'm not going to make a prediction now. It's not going to fare very well because, quite simply, when I show you the next article, you'll understand why. But at this moment in time, you've got people like Leslie Benzies, who's obviously releasing Mind's Eye in May of this year, which I'm looking forward to. He's the guy that used to work at Rockstar Games in Scotland, okay? But he's got a bit of ta-ta-ta at the moment going on with Take-Two. So I'm glad he's kind of free of their shackles and doing what he wants to do, which is giving people a good old-fashioned video game to play with a very likable Latino protagonist. So look again, 7.50% of ownership of shares in Take-Two. That's 12,726,923 shares in total that BlackRock have in terms of their ownership with Take-Two. It's funny how Take-Two actually allowed BlackRock to infiltrate their premises. I wonder how that actually happened. Who knows? And frankly, at this stage, who cares? But of course, I mentioned Take-Two. GTA 6. Now, I was going to talk about this article last week, but I figured it might not have interested you, many of you at the time. But by now, by golly, you should have your eyes fixed on this prize right here. So I've got a bit of an itchy nose today, folks. It's all like cocaine I've been taking. And again, when I do say cocaine, I blame you for all of that and your two friends. You're really bad. Anyway, back to this again. I pressed the wrong button there. Rockstar rumored to have partnerships with Taylor Swift, Fortnite and Roblox. And more for GTA 6. Fans fear the once-defined studio has sold out to Hollywood because I think it's Jason Hauser, Dan's brother, who's running the show now and probably still has an ESG gun held to his head. Can I just say one thing, folks? When you think about GTA, you think of protagonists like Trevor, like Franklin, like Michael from GTA 5, and obviously Nico Bellic, who's probably my favorite out of the whole lot in that franchise. You don't think of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is the woman that if you date her as a man, she turns you into a woman. Look at Travis Kelce and his man bags. Look at Harry Styles, how he broke free from her clutches, has a successful solo career, but sometimes wears women's clothes in between. For what reason, I don't know. And playing gay policemen for Amazon Prime, but I'll get back to them and Jeff Bezos in a few moments as well. And while Taylor Swift writes songs about her bitter breakups, because as a woman, she cannot be blamed for bad relationships. She's a totally innocent party in all of this, right? Why on earth would you bring her into the fold as somebody to headline GTA? It's the same thing with the Deadpool movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, that came out last year. It was rumored she was one of the female Deadpools towards the third and final act of that movie, and it wasn't true. If you bring into an R-rated, very edgy brand that is GTA, it's going to get sanitized.
I'm here with Ned, I'm here with Solo, and Steven. You know them from Grand Theft Auto 5. Have you had Whataburger yet?
I've had a what?
A Whataburger.
What's a Whataburger?
You don't know what a Whataburger is?
Whataburger?
From an R-rated game, it's going to become a PG GTA. That's right, where you hit antagonists with your handbag and then you steal their car. How is that going to work? There is no way Swiftie would actually ever endorse such a messaging and the put down to minority groups in a game like that, because I doubt Taylor Swift actually plays video games. She likes to play games, but just not the kind I want to. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to say is this, folks, and look, if you are paying attention, 007, to the inauguration of President 47, right? Who was at the stand? Who was next to Mr. Trump at the celebrations? You had Elon Musk, but enough about him. You actually had Jeff Bezos, who was there, the Lex Luthor of Amazon Prime, the Bond villain who's now got the license to kill James Bond. Now, I'm pretty sure Mr. Trump is a Bond fan like me. Bezos has got to get it right when he hires the right actor, even having a public interaction with people on Instagram who should be the next 007. I put down Jack O'Connell, who's 34 years old and currently whooping it up on SAS Heroes for the BBC. He's your best bet, but everybody, the public vote is out there. They want Henry Cavill. Now, if Henry Cavill's got time to step away from Warhammer 40k and put his feet into a size 10 pair of Crockett and Jones shoes to become 007 for at least 2 movies, then be my guest. It could work. But Bezos has got to get it right. Not only is Bond at stake here, it's a do or die thing or DEI thing, but he's got to remove ESG and DEI shit as well from Amazon Prime. Oh yikes, who owns Amazon? And look, BlackRock is another leading asset management company with 5.6% of shares in Amazon. So I think maybe, while it's not a lot, it's still quite significant. I do wonder if Amazon are going to make some cuttings here, there, and everywhere. Who knows? It could be very interesting. But on that one, ladies and gentlemen, I did have a jolly good time making this video today, especially with my beautiful assistant next to me. And you might want to keep your eyes peeled like Shaw Taylor back in the day on that great UK crime show they called Police 5, because again, might have mentioned it in my intro already and I'm going to mention it again. But look around, you will see some things being posted today, and I think you might like what you see and what you might hear. And on that one, folks, if you were me and if I were you, you should definitely return for the next video.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year, and what we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay.